Hey guys, now that the devs have fixed classes in Frostborn, each of these classes can be, got individually, making it to where a free-to-play player can easily grind one of these classes all the way up to the max within 3 months. Um, that is, it's basically fixed the game. It's made it to where the game is friendly to free-to-play players, and so. But the question a lot of you guys are probably asking is, well, now that I can go for any class, what class should I go for? And so I have gathered four of the best PvP masters, the people that know this game the best, and we are going. I'm going to basically question them on what are the best classes to cover in this game. So, guys, let's start. Some of these guys you'll recognize their names. We've got Garasu, Jay, Mr. Loyal Lion, Rebro. These guys know the game well. And so, guys, we're going to start out by talking about solo PvP. When you think about, we're going to start with the three warrior classes. What are the best um, solo PvP classes? What should people be going for if they're going for one of these three warrior classes?
So number one would obviously be a Thrasher. That's like a current meta for the tank classes. But yeah, besides that, nothing else is actually good in solo PvP, I guess.
You could do what Astro used to always do, run Protector with a Firebow. I personally tried it. I don't like it. I'm not good at it. But yeah,
But
you
some
could
people
technically
can make
try
it
it.
work.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's like
I mean, if your name is Astro, it might work.
Well, I've heard of people doing that where they basically use the fire bow for range and then they switch to their shield and they're just super tanky. People can't really kill them when you're a protector and you've got your shield, and so but then you have the fire bow to do damage. I've heard of people doing that. It's very an intriguing concept. So, but the Thrasher definitely seems to be the best. And they also, in this update, they're adding a melee potion that lasts an hour long, where melee people get 10% extra damage, which is already good for the Thrasher because the Thrasher does a lot of damage. You can see here that in the start of a fight, he does 75% extra damage until their health is below half. And that's going to freak some people out. And then in addition to that, he's going to have that extra 10% from that potion, and then that potion also gives him 10% extra movement speed, which is going to really help warriors stick to their ranged opponents when the ranged opponents are trying to get away from them. And then the Berserk, so y'all are all kind of like, no, the Berserk just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's.
Berserker is old. No one likes him.
Yeah, I don't think he has enough stunning opportunities.
Okay, so we've got. So let's move on next to mages, and we're talking about solo PvP classes. What if someone's like, I really want to be a mage? What should they be going for in solo PvP?
Fire mage. For sure.
Fire mage, most definitely.
I mean, if you're really skilled, of course, Archmage. But yeah, if you're like a noob, Archmage would be the easiest option to go with.
Yeah. So the fire mage is just the reason the fire mage is so awesome, guys, is because in Frostborn, damage is key. If you can do more, if you get that extra crazy damage, because in Frostborn you're trying to get damage faster than they can heal, and any class or most classes can do that, but the more you can do it, the faster you can do it, the more you'll win. And so the fire mage is just amazing at that because it has the best damage in the game. Now, we were talking about before we started recording the ice mage, and how even though with the ice wall it looks on paper like it can do just as much damage as the fire mage, it, at least with the ice path, it really can't. It just doesn't measure up. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, that is very correct.
So, and we were talking about, if we were to fix the ice mage, they would need to increase how often you could use the ice path to like maybe 30 seconds. Yep. Like being able to use it every 30 seconds, Some of y'all suggested maybe increasing the amount of damage it does with the ice path.
I would probably increase the entire hitbox of the ice pad, like twice as or 3 times wide, maybe a bit longer.
I like that.
Maybe twice as wide, but not 3.
Yeah, I can see that being twice as wide and maybe a 30-second cooldown. Make it just a real powerful team skill. Still probably wouldn't necessarily, I mean, it'd be easier to hit. Maybe you could use it in solo PvP, but really it would make it a dream in team PvP.
Maybe lower the additional HP you get and, boost the damage.
Now, I hear a lot of people that say the Illusionist, now that with the update, is amazing. Would y'all agree with that? I mean, it did get a pretty big bonus to damage.
Did it get
Yeah.
bonus damage? I thought
To a player, it
Illusionist
does.
is like-
It does 60% extra damage to a player.
Yeah.
And then you also have the blink skill, which is often used to catch up to your opponent or to dodge hammers.
Dodge hammers,
And,
man. Dodging a hammer or breaking
You actually
a
gotta-
bola. I mean, it's crazy what you can do with that. It's pretty amazing.
You gotta be very good at predicting when somebody's gonna throw a hammer if you use that, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But I'm not even that good of a PvP player, and I've been able to. There's been some people are just very predictable. Oh, they're gonna throw a hammer right now, and I've been able to break it with a blink, and it is so satisfying. It's so satisfying.
It's really nice to watch too. It's very smooth looking most of the time.
Okay, so out of the support classes, solo PvP, do any of them measure up in solo PvP?
No.
Not really, though I've seen a few attempts of playing the healer in the solo PvP. So yeah.
I've seen the healer win it surprises me every time when the healer wins in solo PvP, but I've seen it happen quite a bit. And I never expect it, so I don't think it's actually good, but it's very memorable how often it's like, oh, the healer won. I wasn't expecting that to happen.
I just think the healer is good for out healing your opponent, but it doesn't do the damage because the health staff is very slow. It doesn't shoot very fast.
Yeah.
And then shaman is just good for running away because the fear and then the stunning rune thing.
Yeah, it surprises me that the shaman doesn't do better. I wonder if there's people out there that can do better with it, because it does have that, plus 40% damage. It's got that built-in Gorgon's helmet. It's got that extra health. It seems like the numbers are there, and I wonder if people can figure. And then the stun rune stuns other people, but not yourself. It seems like the numbers are there, but I just haven't seen anyone doing it. So maybe we'll see. Maybe someone out there will forge the path and become good at it. Okay, what about Rogue Bandit Assassin for solo PvP?
I think that Bandit is just like Thrasher, which is stuns a lot and keeps your opponent very close to you, and you have a lot of stunning opportunities. Obviously, it does a little bit less damage than the Thrasher, but you could probably destroy somebody with it.
Got it. So, see, my old teammate Royal Sniper loves the Bandit. He would do it in solo PvP. I tried it in solo PvP, and I'm like, nope, not for me. I really like the Assassin. The combo makes sense to me. Hammer, sneak attack. As soon as they run away, you use your skill and finish them off. It just seems easy to me once you get the combo, but obviously it requires kind of hiding in bushes and making sure they don't know what you're gonna do to them, and that can be difficult. I heard somewhere that someone was really good at the rogue, but I haven't been able to see it. People said, oh yeah, he was good because he'd basically kill people from horseback a lot, but I just don't see it. I don't see it used very often.
Before the sneak animation change, yeah, most definitely. But after that, like you just don't have enough time to get closer. Count on that he won't use the dispel, then you sneak attack him with a spell. Yeah, that's like not happening at all. So
That makes sense. Yeah. So basically, when they nerfed the sneak, they kind of knocked the rogue out of the PvP game.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about archers. Archers have been historically one of the best solo PvP. Is that still true? Which one should they go for?
My opinion, definitely the hunter. But yeah, really skilled hunter can easily kill a really skilled sharpshooter. So yeah, I don't know.
People argue from sharpshooter to hunter, but in my opinion, I feel like sharpshooter is just overall best out of all archer classes. In
So
solo, at least.
I love this. This is basically the fact that the Frostborn community is divided on whether or not the sharpshooter and hunter is best means that the devs are doing their job to make sure that there's multiple options for us. Some people are like, no, the hunter is definitely best. Other people say, no, the sharpshooter is definitely best. That is how it should be. That is how other balanced games should be. And that's because different playstyles play differently. My suggestion is if you are like some of these guys where you can just, go into your inventory real quick and switch things around and get back out and keep in the fight the whole time and never lose your cool, and you're really good at aiming, then the sharpshooter has that best combo of being able to do a stun, with timing that with the hammer, using your slow, you're just going to be able to do so much damage before so much unanswered damage. But if you are not like them, you can't play as much, or you're just not as fast with your fingers, then my suggestion is to play the hunter, because the hunter just has the raw resources. If you guys watched my video, the becoming a PvP master with Mr. Loyal Lion, you saw that I was able to take on pretty much an entire team by myself just because I kind of strung them out, separated them as I ran away from them as the hunter, and just destroyed all of them with my fire bow. I used my slowing rune to divide them even more, and obviously they should have stayed together as a team, but it was just one guy. They thought, oh, we can take him, and they were wrong, because the hunter just had so much extra movement speed. And so I would say if you are more like me, to where you're not going to just be going into your inventory and clicking a bunch of potions and getting all that stuff and trying to keep your cool the whole time, that you would go for the hunter, because just having that extra movement speed is such a big deal. And one of the things that we were talking about before this video is that some people were saying, I wonder if, using the hunter potion makes sense, right? You get that extra range damage. But some people are wondering, hey, with the hunter, I wonder if it'd be better to just use the melee potion to get that extra movement speed. Even though you wouldn't get any of the damage bonus, you would get even more movement speed. And right now, a hunter with instigator boots is the movement speed between a wild horse and a riding horse. And so if you also use that melee potion, you'd have the speed of a wolf just normally for an hour before that potion ran out. So that is, I would say, a really good combination. Something you guys should consider as you're looking for a solo PvP class. Okay, what about Archmage and Druid? Solo PvP classes?
Archmage definitely. Druid is a meme and not good.
All right, what do you think?
Archmage is a meme too, though.
No, why? Archmage
Bro,
is actually good because you can make it work. Druid, you're basically paying for a bear. You're wasting points and time.
And with
It's not
Archmage,
worth
with
going for.
Archmage, you pay for turning people into chickens and turning them
Yeah,
visible.
but all the opportunities you can do and the things you can have with Archmage,
But do you know what you can do with
you
Druid?
can't even compare it to Druid.
I've tried Archmage. Maybe I'm just not good at it in solo PvP, but I just don't do enough damage.
Well, it sounds like from talking before we started recording, the Rebro was saying that an Archmage with a Gorgon helmet just is so tanky, but also has damage, that he's been able to really kind of play people and win a lot with that combination. And so there might be something there. I would say generally the Archmage and the Druid are not the best solo PvP classes. But that is a good transition into team PvP classes, because the Archmage and the Druid are both good team PvP classes. Obviously, the Archmage is one of the best. It's current meta to have an Archmage on your team. The ability to go invisible as a team, the ability to turn the entire team into chickens. These are that have damage, but then not be too, have a little bit of tankiness. That makes the Archmage, one of the best team PvP classes. But one of the things that we were talking about, we had some debate on, is the Druid really a good team PvP class? And I was telling them that I've seen teams use it because the Druid has that team dispel. You can dispel for the whole team. I've seen teams use it as a really powerful way of basically, especially in a raid or something, being able to get out of a kind of a tricky situation. It's definitely a good counter to the Archmage. They turn them all into chickens, or they turn them all back into crows, and then the Archmage gets that element of surprise. Everyone uses their skills really quickly. Well, the Druid turns them all into crows, and you do only 80% damage reduction, so that you don't really do any damage to them, and so you waste all your skills, and then the team with the Druid then has that upper hand. So you can end up countering the Druid. Like, the Druid on a team can counter the current meta of having a protector, healer, Archmage, archer. But then if you guys watched the video where we were getting raided by that team, we just switched to a 2 archer family, and that then countered the Druid family. And so it's cool how that happens now in Frostborn, and I hope that there's going to be more and more of that as we get better at team PvP, as there's more options now that the classes are fixed and people can go for whatever class they want. I think there's going to be more team combinations that work. The meta, there will be several metas, but right now the meta is mostly just Pathfinder, Archmage, Protector, and Healer.
I usually don't see people use Archmage too much anymore.
Oh, really?
Most people just run double Firebow, Hunter, and Sharpshooter or Pathfinder, and then the Healer and Tank.
Now, this in raids or in giants?
In general.
Both.
In both. No one wants to invest 20k points into something else than 50
Even
into Archmage. It's kind
A
of
lot of
expensive
people
class.
that even have Archmage don't even use it. Like, I have it, I don't use it. I don't even remember the last time I used it.
It
Yeah,
maybe
but
it
that's your
just
mistake.
maybe it just jives with my playstyle. But when we had, sadly, our pro team just kind of broke up. Like everyone, 2 of our people got really busy lives, but we won every team fight. I mean, it was crazy. We would just win pretty much every team fight because of the Archmage. Now, we had a really good sharpshooter, and Nevo's a good tank, and Berry Dealer's a good healer. So we had a good combination. But basically, man, the ability to go invisible and get the upper hand, Neva and I would work. I'd get him invisible next to an archer, and he would damage reflect, taunt it before it, and we would kill the archer within seconds. And we go from invisible to their archer was dead, and it was amazing. But sadly, things didn't work out. Regius says small kids, and they had to do life. And we didn't even play that much. Honestly, I think we could have gotten a lot better, but it was just a really powerful combo. Okay, so as far as team PvP, archers, we all agree that the Pathfinder is the best?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah.
Pathfinder, 5 shot, that's all you need.
And
Pathfinder.
it's easy as well, cheapest as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's not
Yeah,
the
it was-
cheapest anymore. Or maybe it is
Well,
still
yeah.
a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, if Flair was still same like how it is now, it'd be best to get Pathfinder 3 first, since it's a really good class already.
Yeah.
It
If you're
does
going to
a
be
lot
with
of
a
damage.
family, if you're going to be the family archer, you really want to look at Pathfinder because it's got the highest amount of damage. You got the 55 damage. You got the extra damage if you're far away, which if you're playing in a team, you want to be far away. You want to be as far back as you can, which is a lot of extra damage. And then you can mark people, which makes your whole team do extra damage. It's a really powerful team PvP class. The hunter doesn't get his, who cares if you're faster if you have to stick with your team. The sharpshooter still has benefit, but it doesn't have that extra damage. So if you're with a team and you want to be the archer, you need to be going Pathfinder. And then if you're Pathfinder and then you want a solo PvP class, it doesn't have to be an archer class anymore. You can go be a Pathfinder Thrasher, play Pathfinder with your team and go be a, one of the other solo PvP classes without your team. So, okay, what about the scoundrel line? What of the 3 scoundrel classes are the best?
You talking about the assassin classes?
Yeah.
Oh. I would have to say bandit. Has a lot of
Family PvP?
crowd
Family
control.
PvP, yeah.
I mean, you basically have a area stun and you have a extra bola in your inventory. So plus
Okay.
you have your own stun hammer. So yeah, it's no brainer.
Yeah. Okay,
Bunch
so
of
basically
stun
what they're pointing out is that the bandit has a very wide area where it can do a 3-second stun, which is just such a powerful initiate to be able to go in there and take people out, as a team. And so the bandit is going to be the best PvP. And you guys were saying earlier, the meta that y'all were suggesting for a bandit class team would be protector, healer, Pathfinder, bandit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that
Also
way,
the area stun is a very good way to bait this spell so the tank can get his taunt in.
ooh, nice. That's smart. So basically, the bandit is a good initiator. Maybe even better. I think probably better than the Thrasher's than the Protector's initiation. So basically, you're going to make a tankier team. You're not going to be as damage dealer as the other team metas, which is with an Archmage or with an extra archer. But you're going to have that, or with a mage. But you're going to be tankier than those metas, but you're going to have that extra. That the whole team's going to have that crazy initiate with that huge stun. And then the assassin, it seems like, isn't really good for team PvP, right?
Yeah.
No, I just think you're probably gonna run in there, assassinate somebody, take like 100 health off, and then you're just gonna get melted because you're just in the middle of all of them.
Yeah, that's been the dream with the assassin, is that you would run in and you would kill their archer before they even knew what happened, but it doesn't really translate that way. You run in, you might kill the archer, but you usually die first, and then it's just not worth it. So okay, so then for the healer class, or the support class, we've got the healers obviously been in meta. It's still meta. They buffed the sorcerer a ton. They made it to where now in team PvP you can increase your team's damage by 40% and decrease the enemy's team by 40%. That's huge. Those are huge numbers. The numbers look even better than the healer, but there hasn't really been a lot of people get to Sorcerer 3 to even try it. And you guys were like, yeah, y'all were saying y'all hadn't really seen anything. Y'all hadn't really seen it work out, right?
No, not really. Besides that one base defense versus J, where we
that's right.
went double
Nobody
5
really
shots.
wants to invest that much into it, so
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense.
it's not worth even trying it and checking it out. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just think the only time it could possibly be good is raid defense, but in a zone, I don't think so.
I mean, it's a bunch of stuns over time with the
Yeah. Oh, and they can just fear the tank away.
Loyal's family
Yeah,
actually
but
did that
that's
when
not
they
how
raided.
fear works. Yeah, I thought that shaman is good because of that as well. But the point is, when you fear the enemy tank, and if you hit him, it can be broken off with the first shot or like let's say 10th shot. So
Yeah.
it's too big of a gamble to even go for.
Okay, so guys, my phone died, so we're just gonna kind of use this picture for the rest of it. But we're talking about team PvP, and we were talking about the sorcerer being amazing on numbers, but no one seems to have invested or tried it. We haven't seen that. We're waiting for that person who's like, yeah, I'm amazing at the sorcerer and I'm going to show you guys. And we're like all in awe, and then we want to copy him. That hasn't happened yet. So, but I'm really hoping that will happen. Same kind of with the shaman. The shaman is awesome for Helheim Rifts, kind of scaring people into enemy mobs, being able to, base defense. The shaman has some pretty amazing things because you can kind of pin someone in an area, so you throw down your stun. But again, a lot of people have not invested enough points into the shaman to really see that play out. Okay, so let's talk about the three typical mages: Ice Mage, Fire Mage, and Illusionist for team PvP. I don't really see that happen a whole lot. I know it does happen some, but like a Fire Mage as in like an Archer plus a Fire Mage, but a lot of people are going double archers, or they're doing the archmage. I've not seen a lot of traditional mages, at least as much.
Here in NA, I have a family, and so a couple of us have Illusionist 3, because people try to find a way to counter double archer, since
Yeah.
they most of the time melt tank. So they went double tank. I thought about it, and since Illusionist doesn't do much damage to yourself, if they taunt you, you won't die. Most of the time, at least. Double Illusionist is good because you have a bunch of clones, and that blink can also help with dodging and basically another dispo.
Okay.
Illusionist is very good for family. Fire
Okay.
Mage is not. Fire
Got
Mage, you
it.
get taunted once and you're dead.
Got it. So if you're gonna go mage, if you want a mage and you want to be with a family, then illusionist is your best bet. And hopefully they'll buff the ice mage, because the ice mage just seems like it is designed for team PvP, but the numbers just aren't there. Doesn't do enough damage. It's crowd control. Like the ice path is amazing once every 55 seconds, but it lasts 3.5 seconds, and it's over. It's just so sad. And so I think you guys were saying earlier in this video that if they just doubled the width of it, and maybe reduce the cooldown a little bit more, that it would finally be that dream team PvP mage, which would be amazing because that would add another meta to have an ice mage in there as your initiator. But right now it's just not there. So my suggestion for you guys is, if you think, oh yeah, I think that the devs will buff it because they've already done one balance update, they'll probably do another one, then you can go ahead and start putting points in the Ice Mage. But we're just warning you, it's not there yet. It doesn't. It's not a good class right now. Okay, well then that brings us to the last section, and that is team PvP for the three warrior classes. And I feel dumb even asking, but because I kind of know, but what is the best team PvP warrior?
The best team for warriors, 4-man team protector.
Yeah.
Have you seen
it,
that?
it feels silly to say it just
No,
because
but
everyone
yeah.
kind of knows it. It's so obvious. But the protector is the tank in this game. It's really, in my opinion, the only tank. I know that the druid is technically a tank and a lot of hit points is great, but the protector having that triple block is just incredible. It makes it so tanky. And so I hope that Yeah, I mean, we haven't tried a druid with a Nord sword and shield. I just don't think it could. I just don't think anything can compare with that triple block of the protector. So it's the best. Not only is it the best just because it's a tank, but also because you can taunt people to force them to attack you, which can help your damage dealers stay safe. So I've always wanted the Thrasher to be good in family PvP, and then people have always wanted to use the Berserk as like a damage dealer with the cleaver to do splash damage, but it just doesn't work out. They just get a melee character just gets melted too quickly in this game. You can't really do melee damage dealers in team PvP. So really the Protector is the class to be if you are with a family. Okay, so that go ahead. Y'all have any thoughts on that?
I was gonna say something about Thrasher. It's actually a pretty good class for family if you're running normal classes like Thrasher, Protector, Healer, and like an Archer. Thrasher has that stunning barrier around him. You know, it's also a good way to bait a dispel, since you can be a tank for a little bit, automatically use it, and them hit you because they'll think, you know, you're just like a straight up pleb thinking you don't have a tank.
I've definitely wondered. So I have these combinations I think of in my head, and I think I really want someone to try a Pathfinder, Sorcerer, Archmage, Thrasher. It would be the point of the family would be to kill them before they even knew you were there. Because
I personally think if you would do that, you should move from the classic classes into those less used classes slowly but surely, you know, like one class after the other.
No, I
After
know.
that person
The
gets
only
used to
reason I'm saying this, and again, I don't know if it'd work, but the point of it would be the Archmage makes you go invisible. You get to where you need to be, and then the Thrasher jumps on them while the Sorcerer throws the damage resistance down and buffs your damage resistance, and then everyone just melts them literally before they even knew y'all were invisible, and then all of a sudden two are dead before they stopped being stunned. That would be the goal of it, but obviously it's very risky. Like you said, I wouldn't say, hey, go do this, it's definitely going to work. But again, sometimes I just look at the numbers and I say, oh, could a team would have to be really well coordinated to do this. Because the other team couldn't know you were there. You're kind of a squishy team. You don't have a healer, you don't have a protector. You're a really squishy team. But if you use your invisibility well to just jump them, it might work. So, but yeah, I liked what you said about, I mean, the Thrasher is a very bold team move because you got to be a very aggressive team. You don't have that resistance of a protector, but you do have a lot of stuns, which is really nice. So I'd be curious to see it used.
It could work.
My old tank tried
Well, hold
to
on.
use it.
Hold on. Garasu is talking.
Oh.
I haven't heard him talk a whole lot, so that's why I wanted to hear him. Garasu, did you
It
have a
wasn't
thought?
me, but yeah, I was just listening because I didn't know the changes, so I'm just listening everything. It's very interesting and intriguing, to be honest. I didn't expect the game to progress at this much.
Yeah, they definitely made some changes.
Yeah.
So who was talking earlier?
Rebro,
That was Rebro, I think.
Oh. All right, Rebo, did you want to say something?
I mean, yeah, it could work, but it's very situational, and like for all pieces to come together in that scenario, it's like very little chance, almost none. So
Yeah.
I would still stick to the protector, and that's it.
That makes sense. I want people to try out more things just because I think, you know, you never find those gems if you don't branch out, you know. And with the new balance update, I've noticed a lot of us old you know, Frostborn players are kind of like, you got to stick to the protector healer. We've introduced the archmage mainly because it was just so OP at first, but we're slow to try out new things, and I think that now that they've balanced the game, I think there's more combinations out there we just haven't figured out yet. I'm just hoping that there's some families that try some things out that are like, and now that they've fixed the classes to where you don't have these huge grind walls to get to some classes, I think we're gonna start seeing more combinations, because there's gonna be people that they just jive with a certain class. They look at the skills and they say, that's gonna jive with me, and they max it out. And like a sorcerer, someone who says, oh yeah, I like that, and they go for it, and then people are like, okay, well, we'll try it, and then they find something beautiful. So that's my hope. Okay, I wanted to ask you guys one more question before we ended. You know, now that they've fixed, in my opinion, the biggest thing that needed to be fixed in this game, and that is making the classes, which is the biggest part of PvP, making that free to play, friendly. Like, that's the biggest change they need to make. What do they need to do now to basically capitalize on this? Because, you know, they basically fixed how PvP is now free to play friendly, but, you know, it's kind of hard to find PvP right now. So what do you guys think the devs need to do to be able to make this game that timeless game that we're like, yeah, I can keep playing it over and over and over again? I mean, Garasu, you quit, and you were kind of like, I just don't see it happening. And maybe, I mean, it sounds like you're encouraged by this conversation, but it's just to let you know, it's not there yet. Like, it has some really exciting things. The balance update, this update, these are really exciting. But I mean, and maybe with the truce coming back, maybe it'll be good. But in reality, we're talking about, you know, it before the truce. So I'm not going to speak for this new update, but last week, PvP was once every 2 hours. Like, you could have a PvP at Giants or Druids, and that's it. That's the PvP
and then
you got.
find the raid like once in like 4 hours. If you're lucky.
The thing is, I'd like to say, like, the main issue here is for the pros, especially like the new guys who just start the game. They can just grind. They're like, oh, let's get our level 3 skills. They have the hunger to go move on, to farm more, to play more hours. But for us, when we have maxed out levels, maxed out skills, our bases are stacked. Like, we are unlimited gear. What we want is PvP. So yeah, for like us, the main thing we want right now is PvP, and we want more PvP content. Like, don't you last time when you made a video like, whoever kills me first gets $200 or something? You remember as well, 30 people were just in the zones looking for each other, and we couldn't see each other, which is crazy. Like, why is that? Like, it makes me think like there could be like 20 families going to zones, and we just don't find each other because of the game, because the game doesn't let us. So I don't know if that's something with the game or so. And I would recommend for Kefir, like, maybe if it's lacking people to play the game, maybe make some servers find each other, like maybe 2 EU servers or something, like both of them, if it's possible. Like, it can also be impossible for us because of the ping, but if it's possible, why not do it? Like, try to do something like that. Make more servers come together, so we find, at least in PvP thing or raid. I think that will help the game a lot.
Yeah, but you know what's the problem? Because a lot of people do not know that they introduced a new matchmaking system with the Truce event. That caused all the problem. That's why you can find PvP and the rest of us can find PvP.
Rebro, still. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Truce just destroyed the game. For me, that...
But listen, it's not the Truce event. It's the new matchmaking system that came with the Truce event. So they made the Truce event, and they made a separated matchmaking system that matches people with the, I don't know, same power, same level or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's wrong. It needs to be remade from scratch
Yeah.
completely.
It just it
Or
needs
at
a
least
lot of
go
work.
back to the old matchmaking system, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like for sure, they need to do something to the PvP department. Like it's just weak. Like before the
Yeah,
truce.
but
Like I'm saying,
definitely
before I
no
quit.
more
Reaper,
time
you remember as
zones.
well, before the truce, we were struggling still to find PvP. You remember that?
Yeah,
We were
but
still
it was,
struggling.
still it
We,
was easier. We need, I don't
yeah,
Yes.
know,
but
we need
So
still
something
it was
printable.
hard. With truce, it was completely destroyed. Like I couldn't find PvP. Yeah,
yeah.
I would recommend maybe the tournament. It's a great idea. Like, but I don't know if that's possible for them to do it.
So I have an idea I want to run by you guys. So I what I'm hearing you guys say, and I've heard this from, you know, hundreds of Frostborn players, is basically once you get advanced, you need PvP to keep you in there. And that makes sense because like you got all these other timeless games, League of Legends, any of the Battle Royale games, you can keep playing PvP all the time, constantly, forever. It never gets old. There's always something new. And Frostborn doesn't have that, except for the Giants Treasure and Druids event, but that only happens 5 minutes every 2 hours. It's not enough to make the game fun. And so as I was thinking about that, I was like, okay, well, obviously the first thing they should do is they should add a Giants Treasure and Druids event every, I would say every 30 minutes for solo players. Okay. And that is, and maybe it goes 3 of them, and then the Druids event is the team one, and those are different events. I don't know, but the point is, that way you've got something to do, some kind of solo PvP. Maybe only do once every 2 hours on that event as well, but basically that would be one event. And pretty much everyone I've talked to loves that idea. Removing the truce or adding some kind of yeah, sorry, did you have something else you wanted to say?
I was going to say I agree with you 100%. That sounds a great idea.
The second thing was removing the truce, and I made a suggestion of like just giving a reward instead of like making it to where you had to. I actually do think it's good the way they're doing it, to where they're removing the truce, because if you can't lose something, then it becomes less valuable. And so the fact that we have to defend our base makes it scary, but it also is like, well, this is it. This is what makes it valuable. So the third one, my third idea is my favorite idea. And that is when Jotunheim happens, when they open Jotunheim, to add a new event that happens every, let's say, 8 hours, where it's a dragon boss, okay? And you show up to this dragon boss, and at first, the first part of this zone, you can't lose weapons, you can't lose gear, it's not a PvP area yet. And you just fight the dragon boss, and you can have, I don't know, whatever the max that Frostborn servers can handle in one zone, that's what you do. And it's going to be crappy players and advanced players, and they fight this big boss together. The new players are going to say, wow, I can't believe how awesome it is to be next to these guys in full instigator gear that are just dominating the dragon, and it's basically to create energy in the game, right? And it makes advanced players feel like they have something fun to do. They get to impress the low level players, they get to help the low level players. It kind of brings more community. Then when the dragon dies, it opens up the option for them to go into the lair, and it sets the timer. It sets a timer for, okay, the lair is going to open, and the team can then go switch into some PvP gear and kind of get whatever. And then they go into the lair, and at that point, it's another giant or druid type event, to where you can lose all your gear, obviously. But the low-level players are going to watch them and say, ooh, here they go. All these big teams are about to go down into the lair. I'm not going to go into the lair because it requires, 550 or 500 gear score to even go down there. But I'm excited to be up here and watch and think about which teams might fight, and then maybe I'm going to go to YouTube and see if I can see what fight just happened, because that was that was crazy. These two teams were so powerful. They totally killed the dragon, just those two teams. But then I know they went and fought each other, and I want to see that on YouTube. So then they would go on YouTube and watch it. So that's the third idea I had that would basically create more life in two ways. One, it gives new players something that is kind of cool. They wouldn't be completely new. They'd have finished their stable, but they'd be able to interact with the more advanced players. But then it would be another PvP event for advanced players.
Could you maybe look up the picture I sent for Ursa?
Yeah.
This is what we need. Dual arena. This would solve all the problems we have with the pro players and all the old players in the game.
I see what you're saying. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, you could probably like choose like you could fight 1v1s there or like
Yeah.
4v4s or
So-
stuff like that.
Yeah, I made a suggestion like this like 3 months ago. So 3 types of fights: 1v1, 2v2, and 4v4. Minimum 500 power to enter the zone. You go there, you talk to the NPC, you go choose which type of duel you want to do. You wait in a queue until you find the match, just like in League of Legends Wild Rift or anything like that.
Yeah.
You get matched, you get inside the special arena, and you just fight till the death. If you're doing like a if you're doing like a family PvP, etc., like when you die, you would spawn right next to the battle arena in the cage, and you could watch your teammates do the fighting. Let's say you can
Okay.
do like 10, 15 battles a day. Like seriously, this would solve all the problems. We could organize tournaments and all sorts of events there. Like this would be perfect.
Yeah, I like that. One thing I would say to change it is that you could also choose the maximum gear, so that you could choose, I want a green gear fight or a blue gear fight or a purple gear fight, and that way newer players, or not newer players, but players that don't want to grind as much could also have that, the PvP, or you could just make it to where there's a friendly PvP option. But I don't know if I like that, because then people might only want to do friendly PvP, and
No friendlies, no.
Yeah,
no,
but
no, no.
let's say you can choose friendly PvP or you can choose normal PvP. For friendly PvP, you have a tournament type of system, and for a normal PvP, you have like just a bloodbath. You go in there, you go for the gear,
Yeah.
for the weapons.
Okay, I like that.
You get what you win.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
that.
but
I
if
like
it's
that a
friendly
lot.
PvP, you can do tournaments. You can win special rewards.
Yeah,
Developers
That's
can
really-
help creators to create tournaments, etc., etc.
that's a good idea. And one thing that I think they should also add is the ability in this to do solo PvP with your own teammates, because sometimes
yeah,
your
basically-
teammates are your best friends. They're the ones you want to do friendly PvP with, and there's no way to do PvP with your teammate in this game right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, that's a great idea, devs. I hope you listened to it. I hope you listened to all of those ideas. I think all of them have. I mean, this idea is probably the best in the sense that my ideas they add more good things, but they don't fix the problem that people want to be able to play constantly. And the fact that I actually don't mind how you guys have set up the zones, the red zones and the yellow zones, because if you want them to be sparse, if you want them to not always to find each other, that's fine. But you have to create something like Rebo's just suggested about this arena, so that there is a way for us to find each other. Because as Garasu was pointing out, sometimes we have 30 people looking for each other in the zone and we can't even find each other. You gotta add an option for us to find each other for when we want to play the game in PvP. If there's no way for us to find a way, then we can't even have fun, even if we want to. And so I hope you guys make those changes. But thank you for making the great changes that you have. This game is awesome, and we hope you guys make it the best. All right, guys. See you next time.